And Representative Edelson, I will have, will Representative Christensen move Representative Edelson's bill before us?
So moved.
Thank you. Representative Christensen moves House File 768 before the committee with the intention of it going to Ways and Means. So Representative Edelson, would you like to proceed and describe your bill?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair and members. It's good to see you today. I just want to, Leon is right next to me. He's an Edina student. I'm really happy to have him here with us. It's my honor to present, whoa, that was really loud.
There we go. Now they're a little louder. Here we
Okay,
go.
all right. To present House File.
We're always recording, don't worry.
Okay. It's my honor to present House File 768 before you today. I have served on the Special Education Advisory Council. I have 2 children that have special needs and have really worked, our group in Edina has collaborated and worked on how can we better serve our community and our kids that have differing needs. Last year, the people, Anne Mondragon is, am I saying that right, Anne? Mondragon. There we go. So Anne is our president of our Special Education Advisory Council, and Jeff Jorgensen is from my district. He is the director of lifelong learning. We worked on this amending statutory language for 124D.19, which says a school board may offer this program. We're expanding it. Right now it's K through 6, and we'd like to expand it to be K through 12. Now I want to direct members to just really understand that this is a school board may do this. It's not a shall. This allows districts to meet the needs of the communities that they serve. What you will hear today is that a child with a disability after 6th grade, it doesn't go away. It's not magically going away. So we need to make sure that we're serving the populations and allowing our districts to serve the populations that they need to serve. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to my first testifier, Jeff Jorgensen.
Thank you, Mr. Jorgensen. Go ahead and state your name for the record and proceed.
Yes, my name is Jeff Jorgensen. I am the Director of Student Support Services, and what that means is I work with special education services and disabled students across the spectrum to set up programming for them during the course of the regular school day and also during extended school year time periods. One of the things that I've been working hard on ever since coming to Edina is trying to improve the access of our students to after-school program that's typically offered by our community education program and other providers that step forward during the course of the year to provide services to students, to all students, whether in the form of clubs, activities, group activities such as kids clubs and after-school, before-school programs. We've had good solutions that we've been able to arrive at, and within our elementary programs, especially kindergarten through 6th grade, as we do have supplemental supports through this levy that allows us to hire additional individuals as necessary to meet and supplement the supports that are necessary for our special education students or students struggling with any form of disabling condition. It's been a very successful program, and many of our parents and students have benefited from that type of a service. It allows for inclusion with their mainstream peers. It allows full access as they are entitled to under ADA and under a free and appropriate public education. But what we're seeing is that service has to drop off quickly at the secondary level or when students hit 7th grade, because this funding source is not available to those students in the 7th through 12th grade. Now, many of our students, as Heather pointed out very well, continue to struggle with those social elements or those physical impairments that will keep them from being able to attend, just like any other students. Most of our services do charge some form of small fee for those students to be in attendance, but our parents that have students with a disabling condition oftentimes find their students not able to attend because the ancillary supports are not available to the students, leaving only one remedy, which is to try to go back to the IEP, or the Individualized Education Program, and the state and federal aid that's associated with that. But these after-school programs are not special education in nature. These are opportunities for a student to participate just like their regular non-disabled peers. And right now, we're limiting their access to those programs because we don't have an additional funding source to pay for the ancillary services that would otherwise be available. So let me emphasize, we're asking for flexibility in the application of the funds that are already there. And so the levy is there, but it's restricted currently to students that are attending kindergarten through 6th grade. And we're asking for an expansion on that so that we can leverage that same set of money as districts choose and apply and braid their funding sources to most appropriately utilize those funds to reach the students that need it the most. It's a diminishing number of students that are needing those types of services at the top end, in the 7th through the 12th grade, but having that available would greatly enhance their ability for opportunities for inclusion, for being a normal citizen within their school program, and their ability to access programs just like anyone else.
Thank you, Mr. Jorgensen. Representative Edelson?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. My next testifier will be Ann Mondragon.
Go ahead, Ms. Mondragon. Come up to the microphone, state your name for the record, and proceed.
Good morning. My name is Ann Mondragon, and I'm a parent in the Edina School District. Leon's here with me today. He's my 2nd grader, and I just wanted to, just a quick parent perspective is I am a stay-at-home parent, but the summertime has been really unique for us, and was really pleased to be able to access community ed programming a little bit last year for Leon, and through the benefits of the levy, there was extra support for my son in that setting. What does that look like? Well, Leo needs help being safe in his surroundings. He needs help getting in and out of his walker. He needs help transitioning from the floor to his walker and back. He needs help with toileting. He needs supervision. He can sit at the lunch table, but he needs someone standing behind him to make sure he doesn't fall. So that's what it looks like for him. Also, the real subtle things is Leon is very friendly, and he loves being with his peers, but he needs help learning how to be, how to approach his peers effectively, how to play with his peers. Has cognitive delays, and the support that we've received in community education has allowed him to do so. And I can hire a babysitter, I can spend time with him, but he wants to be with his peers. And again, as we've all stated, that desire, that need is not going to go away in middle school. In fact, you as parents probably understand that need is even more so, that they want to be with their peers and not be with their mom. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Ms. Mondragon. Representative Edelson, further comments, and then we'll open up to the audience.
Oh, sorry, I have two short testifiers. Terry Otrumba, just is going to have just a minute.
Got it. Thank you. Please state your name for the record and continue.
Sure. Yeah, my name is Terry Otrumba, and I'm a parent in the Edina School District. My daughter Addison is in 5th grade, and she has a rare chromosome abnormality, so she has some cognitive delays as a result of that. This program, obviously, we have concerns as she's reaching middle school, but you know, my wife and I both work, and so the challenges of trying to find support as she gets older becomes more challenging. But what we've noticed, you know, we have her in the before and after school care programs, and it's helped her tremendously on developing her social skills. She's developed a sense of belonging and confidence that we haven't seen. She's developed some really true friendships with a lot of the typical developed kiddos who, not only her exposure to be around those kids actually value from it as well, because they're around her, and as they go through the school system, they develop those friendships, which has been amazing. So, you know, this is a real important program for us, and you know, it's kind of funny. Spring break's coming in about a week and a half, and Addison yesterday was like, "Hey, Dad, can we stay home from spring break?" I said, "Why?" She goes, "I want to go to Wise Guys. I want to hang out with my friends." So it just shows the value and excitement that she has, and it makes her more successful in school as well, because she has that sense of belonging, of being there with her peers. So thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Otrumba. And Representative Edelson, you have one more testifier?
Yeah, Madam Chair, yes, thank you. I have Val Burke from, she's our Edina Community Education Director.
Ms. Burke, please state your name for the record and proceed.
Valerie Burke, Community Education Director for Edina Public Schools. It's my honor to be here, and I just want to say we support the flexibility to make additional accommodations for all of our students in our school. We pride ourselves on an all-for-all mission, and really believe that the kind of social and emotional supports and accommodations we can apply to all of our students is instrumental in their growth and development.
Thank you, Ms. Burke. And I also want to thank Leanne for being here with us today. I appreciate that. Representative Edelson, did you have anything else to say?
Madam Chair, no, I'd be happy to take questions.
Wonderful. I'm going to open it up quickly to the audience to see if there's anybody else here that would like to testify. Seeing none, members, any questions? Representative Wazalik.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Representative Edelson, for bringing this bill forward. I work in school-age care, and so I'm aware of kind of the concerns that folks have about the programs being expanded. I'm just wondering, I'm not 100% clear on how the funding mechanism works. So if this additional money, is that something that has to be used for the above sixth grade students, or is this something that we could use kind of across our system?
Mr. Jorgensen.
Yes, I can speak directly to that. So the funding that is being collected currently, again, is regulated on a needs basis to K through 6. What we're taking a look at here within the first year in terms of the changes in the documentation that is currently there is just allowing flexibility in terms of the utilization of existing funds across the spectrum as is needed. Additional funds would be levied in the same way that the current levy is being collected in the second year, where we try to expand the levy to be inclusive of how many students would be accessing those services. Those funds wouldn't necessarily then be ear tagged. We would not want to limit that. What we'd rather do is to say any additional funds raised would allow us further flexibility in how we would meet the needs K through 12.
Thank you, Mr. Jorgensen. Follow up with Representative Wozlowick? No. Any further questions, Representative Erickson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Jorgensen, so school age care now is in your district K6. So when you extend it to 12, aren't you going to need a different kind of staffing as, you know, children like this lovely little guy proceed? And how will you make adjustments for that as the program has to extend? Because I know school age care is very important across Minnesota, because certainly in rural Minnesota where I live, it is. But if we add these upper levels, aren't you going to have to redesign your program? I'm looking at the requirements, and I would think that training secondary school students to work with younger children, which I know occurs because it does in the schools that I represent, would be a challenge. I think we would probably need a few more adults. So, Mr. Jorgensen?
Thank you for the
Mr.
question.
Jorgensen?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Yes, I agree with you completely, and these are some of our best laid plans that are already being put into action. We work very closely from the Special Services Department, where we do establish services and exceptional services for our students with paraprofessionals and ancillary staff that really know the true needs of our students and know how to service those needs throughout the school day. Those individuals oftentimes are the very individuals that are working in the after-school or before-school programs to assist our students in the same way, because familiarity is enormous, and understanding the specific needs of the students being served is truly a benefit. And that's where Val Burke and myself, the Community Education Director, have worked very closely together within our systems. My staff train the staff that she hires on for those before school and after school activities, and oftentimes, as I said, she's actually hiring some of the staff that I employed during the course of the school day to provide those very services to students. That allows students more full access, and we can meet the needs of the students more fully. So as we move forward, obviously there will be training efforts that will go forward, but we already have a very good template for how to go about doing that, because we have been doing that in our K through 6 programming already.
Representative Erickson, follow up. Representative Barr.
Madam Chair, to either anyone who wants to grab this one, the funding number on 3.6, you're going from basically 7 years of education and adding 6. You're not quite doubling that and factoring in even a little bit of increase in inflation. That number is an increase of almost 550%. And I was wondering how you derived at that number.
I hear Representative Edelson. I don't know if you have any comments, but I also have Mr. Strom here, and that may be able to answer.
I was actually, Madam Chair, I was going to ask for Mr. Strom to be able to walk through the numbers.
Mr. Strom?
Madam Chair, members, the school age care levy program currently is about $17 million of revenue. The equalizing factor, which shows up on 3.5, provides state aid to very low value school districts. There's low property value school districts. At that level, an equalizing factor of 2,318, that's so low currently that the aid that goes out with the program is less than $1,000 statewide. So by increasing the equalizing factor from that lower level to $12,590, what that does is, for the relatively low property wealth school districts, provides more state aid as a part of the program. the rough estimate when Representative Adelson put this bill together, and we're waiting for the fiscal note on this bill, would be that the revenue increase would probably be somewhere in the $4 million range. And by statewide, and by increasing the equalizing factor by this amount, the lower value school districts would pick up state aid for their programs. Relatively property wealthy school districts would still continue to levy the full amount of the program, but statewide then that would keep the levy cost of the program unchanged. So it's a big increase in that equalizing factor, but the aid levy ratio would go from essentially zero aid to $17 million of levy to, if our estimate was correct, to about $4 million of aid and $17 million of levy.
Representative Bauer, does that answer? Wonderful. And this is one of the reasons why we're sending it to Ways and Means too, to go down to Ed Finance. Representative Bierman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Rep. Erickson asks part of my question already, so thank you for that. But this would be to Mr. Jorgensen as well. Just a clarification. The initial remarks we heard was after 6th grade, the need continues, but I thought I heard you say the numbers drop after that. And could you clarify a little bit or explain what happens there?
Mr. Jorgensen.
Yes. So the number drops a little bit because of choice activities. When we talk about K through 6 programming, our activities after school are generally larger activities that are inclusive of all students. Whereas when we enter into the middle school and into the high school, those are considered to be more enrichment-based activities or choice activities. They come in the form of clubs. They come in the form of activities where any student can participate in some athletic activity, or they can participate in an intramural activity. But those become choice activities, and just like any students, our student numbers actually do begin to drop even in the regular education population and how many are accessing those after-school programs. And so there's a natural drop in our disabled student population as well, because many of our disabled students, again, may be attending those after-school programs K through 6, but as they get older, they do make choices of their own as well in terms of those preference activities.
Representative Bierman, follow up.
Just to follow up in a comment then, that makes complete sense, and that's kind of what I thought. There's many diverse activities for kids these days in so many schools. I think it's a great bill. I like the local ability of schools to decide how to spend those funds, and it's a good bill, so thanks for bringing it forward.
Thank you. Any other member questions?
And Madam Chair, do you mind if I just, according to statute, and this would not change, if the school board chooses to not expand this, they don't have to, but they could also choose, statutory language offers that they could choose to go with another community group. So this is just, again, the importance of this legislation is allowing communities to take care of the students in their communities. And I think it's a good piece of flexible legislation that really empowers our localities.
Thank you, Representative Edelson. I think we just heard your summation there, unless you have some final comments.
Well, there would just be one other, which is we did talk about an expansion upwards, but we did not address the expansion downwards, which is with schools being pressed to do more and more pre-K type programming with ages 3 through 5. That's also another consideration for the committee to think about as this bill progresses, because it is something that, again, we're spending a lot of time in school activities, and those are types of after school, before school activities, as well as parents seek out childcare to help surround the preschool activities that are going on out of the school.
Thank you, Mr. Jorgensen. With that, Representative Edelson, we renew the motion that House File 768 is referred to Ways and Means. Any further discussion on the motion? Representative Gruenhagen.
Oh, Madam Chair, I'm going to vote feelings. That way everybody can decide whether I self-identify for or against the bill.
Representative Gruenhagen, we're not going to go off course today. Thank you. Right. Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye. 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 All those opposed? House File 468 is on its way to Ways and Means. Thank you.